Hey, with the Lord Chess, and today I have one of my favorite players, Marina Brunello, a woman, a grandmaster from Italy. So let's start the game. Nicholas goes for e4, he's an unknown player. c5, and we transpose into a Moscow variation, where Marina goes for a sideline, knight d7. White strikes a meal in the center, takes. You exchange a flank pawn for a central pawn, but white has developed his queen. And now we ask the bishop where it's going, and it's going to take our knight. Developing move. And now a typical idea in this opening is to counter in the center and put your bishops like a Sveshnikov. So it's a battle on the d file mostly in these types of Sicilian. It's a very positional. It's not like a Najdorf where a typical Richterhaus or Najdorf where one side castles here, one side castles here, and it's all out war, or like a Dragon Dorf or a Dragon Sicilian. It's going to be more of a positional game. But it's very poisonous, and this is engine approved. This is the influence of engines on modern chess, because there's only two types of moves you can make: f5 or queen c6 in this position, and maybe bishop e7. But every other move gives a worse position for black. Let's say you play the most natural looking move, knight f6, you're already in big trouble, because white is going to go g5. Let's say you block, otherwise the pawn structure is going to be weird, and there's all kinds of holes in your position. So you have to kind of play this, and here we always see there's full of tactics galore in this position, where white is up the exchange and up the initiative and better in everything. So this position has a lot of poison. So when you see a chess player make a very unnatural looking move, it mostly is because of black is just waiting to it's a very delicate position where one wrong move can make a difference. So that's why we have this weird setup. And now white goes for a good idea. We want to have the bishop on the long diagonal, but in this position, it weakens the c pawn, and we have a half open c file for our rooks. And if you think very closely, let's say black develops like he wants, white's pieces aren't that great actually. This knight doesn't really have mobility. These two knights, normally you want to have your knights in the center, but if you look very closely, this is a very bad position for black. Very for white. Because let's say you want to exchange it, then you have another problem. You can never go for the d5 square, because there's a pawn on e6. So here in this position, it maybe look normal, but I guarantee if you let Magnus Carlsen choose, he would choose black 100% of the time. He loves this kind of position. It's positionally so much easier for black to play, because you have white's only pawn breaks are with f4 or maybe in the future on the queen side. But black has such a strong hold. It has an impregnable fortress. There's so little weak points. So in this position, white has a weakness here, a weakness here. This bishop isn't doing anything. His knights lack mobility. And you may wonder, is black so much better? And the answer is yes. Because these pawns are coming. This knight can maybe go to f4. And these bishops are slicing through everything. So it maybe look very normal, but it's actually very dangerous for white. And white is just a little bit cramped. And now we have a star move. Bishop b7. You can pause the video and ask, why is bishop b7, queen b7 such a powerful move? It's a genius move. One of the best moves of all time. So, Marina knows what is her plan. She wants to push the b pawn so she can take the e pawn. But let's say she does it now. Knight has nowhere really to go because then you just take. So it's go here. And now there's a tactic where you can fork the knight and the queen. But your queen is under attack. So she goes here with the same plan. So let's say now white makes a stupid move. And this is game over. So in the game, white sees this and goes for queen e2. And now, this is where all the fun starts for black. Black controls the pawn breaks. White's bishop is normally a fianchetto bishop is great, but in a close position, I know you generally want to have knights, but these knights, they just don't have that many squares to go to. Black has successfully just zugzwanged white position. And now white has a very difficult position. These knights going here. Do either push the pawn or move the queen. In the game, he pushed the pawn, but it maybe was better just to give black this square, because you will see white push this, but now there's white square weaknesses on this diagonal, and it's going to be the end for white. He goes for desperate counterplay, but maybe pause this position and win the game for black. So, in this position, Marina just took the knight, has to take with the pawn or else losing the exchange. And now we have this beautiful pin, and there's no white square bishop to save this. There's no white square bishop. White doesn't have a single white square bishop, and look at these holes like Swiss cheese on the queen side. So, on the king side, white tries to desperately go for unpin itself, but it's too late. And you can pause the video again. What did black play to win the game? So black played the amazing move. Again, Marina finds the best move, of one of the best move, f5. Because you want to play this to win the piece, but there's no defense. So if you work backwards, you can see I play f5. There's not enough time for white, and now it's pinned. And this is such a beautiful game played by Marina. She made her opponent look like an amateur. And now winning the exchange and winning the game. So where did black go wrong in this? White go wrong. So white played very good, but I think this was a mistake, positional mistake. I think the bishop is better on g5, because when black develops, let's say we have squares for our knights, and the d5 square has one less defender. So in this position, most grandmasters play g5. This fianchetto bishop never came to life, and maybe a little bit too much rook moves. It's too much of a slow plan, because this bishop is protecting this d6 pawn, so you can put as many pressure, you can put your elegant gun here, but you're not going to break it. And then maybe in hindsight, like this is so, let's say a waiting move, this is so difficult because it's so unpleasant to have a knight standing there, because it's like a knight is worth more than a rook in this position. But Black has also cannot really attack very easily because his queen and his bishops are here, and there's also pressure. So sometimes you maybe have to give the knight to you have to give the knight square to your opponent, because this was also not a great option, because this was also Swiss cheese. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.